What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon, DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance crew, and you're watching DaVinci Rants. Because this is going to be a rant. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I don't normally do this a lot, but this time, in this particular discussion, I might end up getting into some territory that might have people looking at me sideways or whatever, because this I don't know why this particular subject seemed to have struck a nerve with me, but it kind of has, and I'm definitely going to let it be known what my issue is. For those of you that are wondering, I'm sure you've seen the title at this point. This is a video talking about the situation between Chris Rock and Will Smith that happened during the Oscars not too long ago. Now, I did make a tweet and I did address this in one of my live streams, but that live stream had to be taken down because there was technical difficulties and everything else. So if you weren't there, you missed it. It's gone now. But I decided I was going to make a video dedicated to it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I haven't really laid out anything as far as like what I like the direction in which I'm going to talk about this and going from one area to the next and whatnot, like some YouTubers do. This is completely off the cuff. This is no scripts, no nothing. Just me addressing this based on what I've seen. Now, to keep you guys out of suspense, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know. I think that Will Smith was completely in the wrong. When it comes to the joke itself, which is a joke in which Chris Rock said, Jada, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. That was the joke. And then, let me also say this. I don't have a problem with Will Smith directly. Now, I have an issue with what he did, period. The reason why I have an issue with what he did is because, one, it shows that you have an immature mindset. Anybody that thinks that the idea of resorting to violence is at any point acceptable, unless it's to counter violence, is someone that has an immature mindset. I don't want any association or anything with someone with that mindset. So for all the people that are out there saying that they support it or they understand or anything like that in that situation, has an immature mindset in my mind. But the idea that it's excusable, it's beyond whatever. But as I was saying, I think that Will Smith is, I would give a majority of the blame to. Now, the joke that Chris Rock told, it wasn't the funniest. It was more so just a like commentary. It wasn't there was no punchline or anything. It was just a mention. The people that are trying to say that he called her ugly or he was talking about her alopecia or anything like that, and her, I mean Jada Pinkett Smith, that's complete bullcrap. Chances are Chris Rock didn't even know that she had it. I didn't know that she had it. And there's people on the internet that are saying, oh, well, she talks about it all the time. Well, who the hell is constantly subscribed to what Jada Pinkett Smith is saying? I'm going to tell you the truth. I tuned out when it came to Jada Pinkett and her discussions after she continued to run Will Smith through the damn mud with all her damn red table talk and all other stuff. That's why I stopped paying attention to what she said. Chances are Chris Rock don't care either. He don't watch her content. Like, I'm very open. Like, for example, I'm very open about being an atheist. Some of you probably just learned that because I mentioned it. Okay, so what? Y'all aren't subscribed to me. I'm not someone that is important enough that every single person should know exactly what type of person I am, exactly what I'm dealing with, this, that, and the other. Y'all don't know. So why should I expect you to have a full knowledge of what's going on with me? And the idea that Chris would have a full knowledge of what's going on with Jada, even though she likes to put all her business in the street, don't mean everybody got to pay attention to it. So chances are he probably didn't even know that she had alopecia. The idea that alopecia is some type of crippling disease. Now, I know there are people out there that are dealing with alopecia, and it is, it's a, what would be the proper term for it? Condition. I'll just call it a diagnosis. It's a diagnosis that is that it can do a lot of damage to your self-esteem, self-confidence, things like that. The idea of um, losing your hair, especially for a woman, can be a serious situation. But at the same time, the people that are trying to associate this with uh, some type of deadly disease, like I've seen people try to mention lupus, and I've seen people try to compare it to people that are going through chemotherapy and things like that. Stop it. Get out of here. It's not the same damn thing. You're conflating the issue to try to make the situation more serious than it actually is. Jada Pinkett Smith doesn't even have a type of alopecia that causes 100% hair loss. At best, she would, or at worst, she would have patches in her head, in which case, again, devastating, but she's rich. She's at the position where she can easily be one of the most beautiful women in the world while still having a shaved or bald head. Period. It's a lot different than people that are dealing with it that don't have the means to take care of that type of situation. Now, I know that can be what I just said can seem kind of heartless compared to when it comes to people that actually have alopecia. Again, like I said, I understand that it is something that is very devastating for self-esteem and everything else. But at the end of the day, it's not going to cause death or disability or anything like that. I saw one person on Twitter mention something about, oh well, people have committed suicide because of self-esteem and things like, so that makes it deadly. No, it doesn't, because if that's the case, then anything can be seen as deadly. Losing your job now all of a sudden is deadly because people have committed suicide because of that. Having your heart broken, having a relationship end on you, now all of a sudden that's deadly. Like, come on now. Let's stop with the conflating alopecia with a condition that is absolutely devastating. Again, it is bad. I'm not saying it's not. Absolutely. Matter of fact, if you have alopecia and you're watching this, feel free to weigh in. But the idea that Chris Rock is supposed to just know and know that joke is off limits, despite the fact that Jada herself has said on multiple occasions that she's grown to accept it and she's past it. All she can do is joke about it now. She's embraced it. That sounds like someone that would be open to hearing a joke. At this point, this seems like a Key and Peele skit. The skit where they had the burn victim in the comedy club and he was telling them to tell jokes about him, and then as soon as the joke went at him, then all of a sudden he started crying. That's what this seems like. I'm surprised that Will did this. Now, while I'm saying this, I'm going to also say that Will Smith is someone that I still respect. He's someone that I still can look up to outside of this situation. I still respect his hustle. I still respect the stuff he's done in the past as far as his outlook on life and things like that. But at the same time, I will also say, Will, you need to drop Jada. You need to. This woman is going to mess your damn life up. And for those of you that don't know or haven't been keeping track of the Will and Jada situation, Jada Smith has on numerous occasions shown that she does not care for Will Smith the way Will Smith cares for her. She said in the past that she did not want to get married. She said in the past that she cried on her way down the aisle. She's constantly talking about other people that she has dated and her deep connection with them, whether it was Tupac or whoever else. She has this open relationship, which clearly is not something that Will Smith likes. Otherwise, he would not have been crying during that red table, or not. I would say crying, or whatever, tears, eyes, water, whatever. You don't have that reaction to a situation that you accept. The fact of the matter is, Will is in a situation that he does not want to be in, but I feel like he does it because he wants to keep his family together. And Jada is someone that does not want to be tied down. She does not want the responsibilities of a relationship. She comes off to me as one of those types of girls that has either a low self-esteem of herself or doesn't value herself very highly. And Will is someone that's come through and has put her on a pedestal and she doesn't like it. So instead of just breaking off with Will and leaving her like most people would in this situation, she knows that it would come off as bad in the public eye to just abandon Will to go around and just be a swinger and be single and do whatever the hell you want. That would be bad optics. So what she does is she is willing to keep the facade of a relationship with Will in the public eye as long as Will is willing to accept that she doesn't want to be tied down and doing whatever the hell she wants. I'm getting into gossip today. Like I said, Will is the type of person that, I'm speculating. I don't know them, but Will comes off to me like someone that is in a situation where he doesn't like to be perceived as this coward, or I hate the term beta male, but beta male or whatever else that he's been portrayed as recently. And this slap was him lashing out, not just at Chris Rock. It was probably more so the straw that broke the camel's back, but Will is lashing out at society for the way that they see him and his family. And that's what makes this situation all the worse, because you're clearly mad at other stuff. Why are you coming out at Chris Rock? Chris Rock. Because the thing that also gets me is that you went on stage and you slapped Chris Rock. Now, no disrespect to Chris Rock, but he's not the most masculine man in the world. He's not the most intimidating man in the world. And Will knows that, because Will walked up on stage, slapped Chris Rock, and then turned around and casually walked back to his seat. I can tell you right now, had I been Chris Rock, I guarantee you Will wouldn't have turned his damn back, because if he did, he would have caught a damn microphone to the back of the head. Man, there's certain things you don't do. And I'm going to get into arguments about toxic masculinity, and not in the sense that you guys might think. I'm going in a different direction. But what I'm about to do right now is kind of in that territory, which I guess you can call me a hypocrite if you want. But it's just, each person has their own personal values and principles that they abide by. And this is just a personal principle of mine. Chris Rock probably doesn't fall under that. That's the reason why he didn't retaliate, which is cool. He took the high ground. He's the adult in the situation, regardless of how people feel about his joke. My principles tell me you don't slap another dude unless you're willing to fight. Period. Especially in front of everyone. You done slap me in front of damn Zoe Kravitz and Beyonce and all this. Hell no. Hey, I'm going to say, if I'm Chris Rock, I might not be able to beat Will, but I'll be damn sure that when he gets up to give his acceptance speech, there's going to be some blood in his mouth. There's going to be a knot on his head. There's going to be something. I might have gotten knocked out, but damn it, something has happened. Either that's going to be the case, or he's going to be giving his acceptance speech from a hospital bed. One of those two. Because you ain't about to just get in front of live television with millions of people watching and slap me. Because at the end of the day, we're going to have a problem. Also, another thing. This is why it's important to have mature discussions when it comes to somebody having a difference. What Will should have done, and I know people are, well, in the heat of the moment, you don't know what would have happened. In the heat of the moment, you damn sure know what would have happened. I've had situations where I've gone back and forth with people. I've had situations where people have pulled guns on me, and while I was going back and forth with somebody. But in that situation, you have to think, okay, I'm in an argument with somebody. My actions could escalate the situation or de-escalate the situation. What am I going to do? Am I going to escalate it, or am I going to de-escalate it? That is what a mature adult does. You, in that situation, you automatically know what actions are going to escalate and what actions are going to de-escalate. And as an adult, you have to know when and where to utilize those decisions. In that situation, what Will should have done, well, there's actually a number of things Will Smith could have actually done. He could have gotten up and just stood up and just said, hey, my wife is dealing with a medical condition. It's something that is very personal to her. I'd appreciate no jokes or no jokes involving this. I know you're a comedian and Chris Rock, we go a long way. I respect you, bro, but this is my wife and this is something that impacts her personally. Chris Rock right then would have probably been like, all right, look, my bad. I ain't know it was a joke. I'm sorry. And he would have moved on. If you wanted to make an even more impactful message, you could have went up just like you did, except instead of slapping him, take the mic and tell people a moment, like take a moment out to let people know about alopecia and how it affects people and why it's not okay to tell jokes about it. Not only would Will have come off as the bigger man in that situation, he probably would have gotten a standing ovation right then and there. People would have probably seen him as a hero. He would have drawn awareness to alopecia, and more people would have come out about situations that they were in where people made fun of them for alopecia or whatever else. But instead, because you went up there and slapped him, not only did you lose the narrative that you could have made by drawing awareness to alopecia, but now that one joke that Chris Rock told is now blown up all over the place, all over the world, front page news, a comment that would have naturally probably just disappeared after 10 minutes. Nobody would have thought about it after that. He would have moved on to the next person that he would have been roasting at the time, and the comment that he made towards your wife would have been completely forgotten about in less than 5 minutes. But because you did that, not only have you solidified that moment for the rest of that ceremony, but for the rest of Oscar history, your wife is going to be associated with that moment. Because I'm not sure if a lot of you go out there and watch top 10 videos and top 10 moments that, like top 10 live moments that have had whatever else. You are now one of those. So when people talk about the top 10 moments in Oscar history, you better believe you're going to be up there. And you better believe that every single time somebody addresses this, they're going to bring up your wife and that joke. Not only that, but you did this in an era of social media. The internet has trolls. One thing that you do not do when it comes to trolls is you do not give them ammunition. Trolls are looking to upset you. They don't care about logic or anything like that. They're looking to make you mad. They're looking to get a reaction out of you. Now, you just gave all the trolls license to kill. They all know exactly what you don't like, and they know how to push your buttons now. So now when you decide to come back to social media, which another bad move, because now you have to close your social media accounts for a period in time and things like that. So now you're losing money that you could have been making with different TikToks and Instagram lives and Instagram posts and things like that. Now you have to close all that down, or you have to close the comment sections, whatever else. But even when you do bring those back, guess what comments you're going to be getting? Guess what type of people are going to be coming into your live streams and everything else and cracking the jokes? You just made this 1,000 times worse for Jada. If that's really what you're concerned about, you just made this 1,000 times worse. Because the joke that Chris Rock told, which was honestly a pretty benign one, now people are going to be coming in with everything. They're going to be coming in with the August Alsina jokes. They're going to be coming in with the entanglement jokes. They're going to be coming in with the jokes about Jada wearing the pants in the family and all that stuff is now open game. Will Smith was one of the most beloved people in Hollywood for the most part. Like, most people besides like the woman that played Aunt Viv originally didn't really have a problem with Will. Most people didn't have a problem with Will. Now, you done pretty much polarized half of your following because of the action that you took. So what would have been just a one-off comment is now going to be a tirade of half your comment section just throwing jokes at you and Jada. Another thing, Everybody that is saying that certain jokes are off limits. And I said what I'm about to say, I said on Twitter too. Everybody that's making the jokes about, oh, you can't make fun of this because you can't make fun of somebody with a condition. You can't make fun of someone that has a condition that they have no control of. You can't make jokes about someone's appearance that they have no ability to change or anything like that. Everybody that's saying that, if you've ever in your life made a joke at the expense of Michael Jackson and his skin or his child abuse or his surgeries, which was clearly a result of body dysphoria, anybody that made a joke about Tina Turner and her domestic violence, anybody that made a joke about Stevie Wonder and his blindness or his receding hair, or anybody that makes a joke about any of the celebrities, Kanye, all that, shut the hell up and sit down, because you have no soapbox to stand on. You sat there and are going to try to excuse this by saying, oh, well, he shouldn't have made a joke at her expense. Well, how many jokes have you made at other people's expense? Especially the people on Twitter. I've already made it clear I'm not the biggest Trump fan. If you don't know, I don't like the dude at all. But at the same time, people were making jokes about Trump, about things that he had no control over. How many Trump jokes do you hear about his hair? How many Trump jokes do you hear about his weight? How many Trump jokes do you hear about his inability to control his bowels and all those jokes about Trump? Are those not off limits? Or is it okay because it's someone that you don't like? You see this all the time. People that are on Twitter and on social media that talk about how certain things are off limits, and they talk about cyberbullying and this, that, and the other. But then as soon as somebody comes up with an argument that they don't like, even if that person didn't go personal or nothing, they were going after the argument that you were making. And the next, these people are posting your profile pic and saying, oh, look, this is the person that would say something like this. Look at, you have no room to talk. Look at you. Now all of a sudden you're the bully. You're the person that is going around making fun of somebody's appearance and stuff like that. So congratulations. It didn't take you long to fall right in line with what you consider to be a bully. The people that think, oh, well, if you think that I'm a bully, then I'm going to be a bully. Oh, if you think that I'm a criminal, then I'm going to act like a criminal. Who the hell are you? Like, what are you proving? You think that you're showing me up because you're proving me right? I assumed you were a bully, so now you're going to act like a bully. You showed me, I guess. Wow, I thought you were a bully and you turned out to be a bully. I feel bad. What? Like, the gall of people on social media and on the internet and things like that, which, by the way, I have a bigger issue with the people on social media than I do with Will Smith. Like I said, I think that this was a moment of weakness for Will. I think that this was a dumb, boneheaded move that Will made, and I don't support it in any way. But like I said, I think it was a moment of weakness, and I think there's more to it than just him being offended by a joke. But the people on social media that have the gall to pretend like they are outraged at Chris Rock over this comment that he made, after all the comments you see people make on social media at the expense of other people, sit down and shut the hell up. That's my position on it. Sit down and shut up. But also, not only social media, we can go back and look at the hypocrisy of Will Smith himself. How many jokes has Will Smith made at the expense, and I know it's a character, but still, it's jokes. It's all entertainment, but somebody has gone out and used those exact same jokes on other people. How many jokes have Will Smith made at the expense of Carlton, whether it was his height or the shape of his head or anything like that? How many jokes has he made at the expense of Uncle Phil, whether it was his weight or his baldness? How many bald jokes have Will Smith made throughout his life at the expense of other people? How many jokes has Will Smith made over his life about conditions that people had that they had no control of? I distinctly remember one episode of Fresh Prince where Will Smith was coming in from a trip to the mall. He had a new cologne, and I think he was showing Hillary. I forgot exactly the person that he was showing it off to. But he said, hey, I bought this new Michael Jackson cologne. Check it out. He sprayed it on his wrist, and he put it up to the person's face. They smelled it. They said, I don't smell anything. He was like, oh, really? Oh, that's weird. It's a lot lighter than it used to be. Michael Jackson, on many occasions, has been on tape discussing the idea that he does not like the jokes that people make about his skin color. He says that he's an African American, he's a proud African American, and when people make jokes about him and his skin and him not wanting to be black and all that, it hurts him. Regardless of how you feel about Michael Jackson, he just told you that this is a joke that is personal to him. So now all of a sudden, now all of a sudden you want to sit here and say that, oh, you can't make jokes at certain people because you never know how it's going to impact them. Maybe you're okay with that joke, but they're not. But Michael just said that he wasn't okay with that joke. Are you still making jokes? Michael said this back in the early 90s. How many of those people on Twitter are still making jokes about Michael Jackson, his skin and his nose and surgery, everything, all that other stuff? How many of y'all are still making jokes about that? How many of y'all are still making jokes about, like I said, Tina Turner? Tina Turner was a victim of domestic abuse for decades. You think that it's funny for her to hear jokes about people making about her getting beat, or Ike Turner jokes or anything like that? You think it's fun for Stevie Wonder to hear people constantly making jokes about his hair or his blindness or anything like that? You had no problem with that. But now all of a sudden, because this situation's happened, now all of a sudden you want to try to get on your damn virtual pulpit and try to preach to everybody about how this is wrong, and there are certain guidelines and there are certain places you don't go and certain jokes you don't make. You are in no position to demand anything from anyone. Chris Rock is a comedian. If you don't like comedy, don't go to places where comedy is made. If you don't like someone that tells jokes at the expense of others, don't go to a place where the comedian is going to be making jokes at the expense of others. D.L. Hughley, for the longest of time, has made it a routine in his sets that he would just riff on the audience. There's always a period where he just goes from person to person and he just makes jokes about them. Do not go to a D.L. Hughley concert if you do not want to be made fun of, especially when it comes to sitting in the front row. When it comes to the Oscars and the Grammys and all these award shows, every single time there's a host or a presenter that is a comedian, they tell jokes at the expense of the audience. And the reason they do that is because Hollywood wants to demonstrate to the regular person that, hey, we're not so uptight, we can make jokes about ourselves too. That tends to be what the attitude is when it comes to these award shows. But now you've pretty much put yourself in a position where not only have you shown you can't take a joke, despite the fact that you're supposed to be the funny guy, but also that Hollywood is just as uptight as they pretend to be, and this is all semantics. Now, most people already figured that out, but thanks for, putting a nail in the coffin for it. Again, the biggest issue I have with it is the fact that Will Smith chose Chris Rock. Because had that been anybody else, I think Will would have kept his ass in his seat, and I think that he would have not made an issue about it. Or worst case, or best case scenario, he would have approached them after the fact and tried to address it with them in private. But the fact that he went up and slapped Chris Rock, which, by the way, a slap, like I said, it all comes down to visuals. Will Smith was looking to make a statement more than actually being outraged. Because if he was really outraged, I don't know if any of you have actually seen how fights build up or how someone attacking someone usually builds up. But it's not a case of you just laughing and smiling and the next thing you just get up and just hit somebody. Usually there's a build up to it. If this was a real situation, what would have happened was, or what likely would have happened, let's be honest real quick, is Chris Rock would have made the joke. Will Smith would have gotten upset and said, hey, don't make jokes about my wife. If Chris Rock would have kept building onto that, then Will could have gotten a little bit louder, just like he said in real life. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Now, if Chris continues to make jokes, then Will gets up and smacks the hell out of him. That's usually how altercations tend to work. It's not a case of, oh, that was funny. You know what? Let me get up. But no, that's not how that stuff works. Normally, there's a build up to it. Unless you're dealing with someone that's just a complete savage, in which case, do y'all really think Will Smith is a complete savage? He's the type of person that would just beat somebody's ass just because they looked at him a certain way. You think Will is about that type of life? Hell no. Will Smith ain't about that life. During the live stream, I had a phrase that I kept using over and over again, and that phrase was, "He picked the right one." He picked the right one. Because had that been anybody else, I guarantee you that Will Smith would have been looking over his shoulder as he walked away. Which is why I think Will Smith did it, because, again, I don't know if I already addressed this. I probably did earlier. I've been talking for a minute. But the reason why Will Smith felt comfortable enough to walk away after the slap without even looking at Chris Rock, just turned his back and casually strolled back to his seat, is because he was not threatened by Chris Rock. There's been a lot of people that have made jokes at your expense, whether it was 50 Cent or Eminem or anybody. How many people have not made the entanglement jokes? How many people have not made the jokes about Jada and August, or the red table discussions, the different subjects that Jada has put in the streets when it came to Will and their private life? How many people have not made jokes at their expense? So you've had plenty of opportunities to get up and slap somebody, but you chose to slap Chris Rock. Really? All I know is if I was Chris Rock, and this is outside the award show, because I told you what I would have initially done. Now, that would have been wrong, but when it comes to having split second, just emotional responses that people try to excuse Will for me, the tougher ones are when it comes to defending yourself. And I don't mean like someone making a comment. A comment isn't defending yourself. As much as people want to try to pretend like verbal violence exists, that bullshit on social media, oh, verbal abuse, and just like, shut the hell up, it was a joke. But as much as people want to try to make that a thing, it's not a thing. I don't care if you want to try to make it a thing, it's not a thing. The actual situation where you have a response is when someone does something physically to you, or checks you, or gets in your face, or something like the people that make a gesture that is akin to them possibly doing something to you. Chris Rock didn't run up to their face and tell that joke. Chris Rock was on stage in front of a mic like he was supposed to and made a joke. If Chris Rock made some type of intimidating gesture towards you, fine. If he had for example, if Chris Rock would have jerked at Will and pretend like he was going to punch him or something, and Will turned around and just smacked the hell out of him, okay, that's fine. That's a fine response. That's a perfectly normal response. But that's not what the hell happened. When it comes to a situation like that, yeah, I will excuse that. Me, I'd have slapped the hell out of Will. I wouldn't have slapped him. I'd have punched him. But we would have been fighting. And I will admit that was wrong. But in that moment, you slapped me in front of national TV, I would have been weak. I'm just letting you know that. I would have been weak. Chris Rock is a bigger man than me. But even after all that is said and done, you slap this guy. He continues to tell jokes. You get up on stage after you've won the Oscar, which, congratulations, you just tainted your Oscar win. You've been in the film industry for decades. You finally get an Oscar win, and this is what people are going to remember. Not the fact that you won, but the actions you took before you won your Oscar. That is now going to be synonymous with you. You get up on stage and you make this acceptance speech that has to be the most rambling, random garbage of an excuse that I could have possibly heard. All this talk about Richard Williams and Richard Williams protects his family and Richard Williams, I think most people admit that some of the stuff that Richard Williams back in the day went too damn far. And two, I don't give a damn what Richard Williams did. Your name ain't no goddamn Richard Williams. You are Will Smith. You have no excuse to. Like people try to make these arguments for actors, especially method actors, that try to excuse their garbage behavior because it's like, oh well, they're in character. They're trying to get in character. Jared Leto's mailing dead rats and stuff to co-actors. They're getting in character. Get the hell out of here with that getting in character bullshit. There's no excuse for you acting like an asshole. You don't get to do something dumb and then try to excuse it by saying, "Oh well, this is the energy that I had going through me at the time, and this is the Shut the hell up. I don't give a I don't give a damn what you were feeling at the time. That doesn't excuse you for doing none of this. So you get up on stage, you make this argument about love and you got to protect your family and this, that, and the other. All that's garbage. All of it. You made no sense in that argument, period. And I think that you probably realize that at this point because at the time of me making this video, Will Smith has already apologized to Chris Rock, which he should have did on stage. If I'm Chris Rock, I'm not accepting that apology because you slapped me in front of a live audience in front of millions of people, but then you made your comment on your Instagram page with a couple 100,000 people that see it. No, I want you to get on national TV and apologize to me. I'm not about to sit here and accept that. By the way, the winners of this whole situation, Chris Rock, because let's be real, Chris Rock's next comedy special is going to be in demand. It's going to be sold out. Everybody's going to be going to Chris Rock's next comedy special because they want to see what the hell he got to say. And if I was Chris Rock, honestly, I would dedicate an entire 30 minutes. If I have an hour-long special, I'm dedicating 30 full minutes to Will Smith, his wife, and his family. Nothing's off the table. I'm going to go in on everything. Everything I can think of. I'm going in on all of it. Every single rumor, every single controversy, every single situation that's come out, whether it was Jada and the roundtable talks or Will Smith and any cross situation the Smiths would have been in, I would go in on all of it. So Chris Rock is one of the big winners. I guess the other big winner is the makers of G.I. Jane, because let's be real, that movie all of a sudden now has a ton more attention. It's probably I'd love to see the numbers for G.I. Jane's streaming figures after all this is said and done. I want to know. But yeah, the joke about G.I. Jane, because people try to associate it with him making fun of her alopecia or some shit. It was a joke on G.I. Jane. And it wasn't even a joke like suggesting ugly or anything. The punchline of the joke is, you look like G.I. Jane based on the haircut. Y'all have the same haircut. That's it. Y'all have the same haircut. That speaks nothing about her physical attractiveness or whether or not even the haircut is bad. It's just that you have the same haircut. That's it. It's no different than someone who's bald having a joke thrown at him like, hey, I loved you in Space Jam. You're comparing him to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan isn't the ugliest man in the world. I don't think that most people would be upset at the idea of, oh, you compared me to Michael Jordan. You can point to anybody. He could have made an Amber Rose joke. Is Amber Rose ugly? Okay, you have the same haircut. Big whoop. It has nothing to do with whether or not the haircut is good or bad. It has nothing to do with whether or not G.I. Jane is ugly or not, because it was Demi Moore. Demi Moore, I'm pretty sure most people, especially back then, would not have had a problem with dating or saying was attractive in any way. Even in G.I. Jane, I'm sure there are people that are like, yeah, she looked good in that. I'm just being real. Like, it's a really stupid argument. And the people like moving the goalposts and, oh, well, he clearly bullied her and attacked her and verbally assaulted her. And I support Will. I support Will for standing up for his woman. And let me go ahead and address that also. The people that are sitting there talking about Will Smith stood up for his woman. These are the same type of people that I'm willing to guarantee, and I'm generalizing, but again, I can admit that at least. I can admit that I'm somewhat wrong for generalizing. But these are the same people that have no problem with a woman slapping a man in an argument because they were upset. The same women that don't have a problem with domestic abuse when it's done against a man. Because these are the people that are trying to justify having your feelings hurt and being offended with violence. They're saying it's okay to hit somebody if they upset you. It's okay to hit somebody if they make a joke about you. It's okay to hit somebody if they've made you mad verbally. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. And everybody that's excusing Will are the same people that would excuse domestic violence against a man or something like that if the man didn't do anything physically to warrant it. I don't give a damn how loud or how frequently or whatever the argument is. The second you put your hands on somebody, you lose. Period. That should be the end of discussion. And what hurts, well, partially hurts, but also pisses me off about all this is people in the black community that support it. Now I'm about to get into race for a second. The people in the black community that are all going, oh, well, this is what you do. You don't let nobody disrespect your woman, and you ain't no punk. You're right. You don't let someone disrespect your woman when it comes to actually being intimidating or actually assaulting her in some way. Yes, you defend your woman in that situation. If it's a comedian, you don't fucking get up and just attack them because they made a joke. There's many things you can do. You can get up and leave. You can not smile or laugh or anything. There's many things you can do in that situation. The black people that are excusing this stuff are the people that set us back. And it's very ironic that he did it to Chris Rock, because Chris Rock had a very, he had a segment on one of his comedy specials, a set that goes so well with this. And normally I'm somebody that don't like to use the N-word on my channel because I feel the word has absolutely no value and should not be rehabilitated in any way because it never once held anything special to it. But I will go ahead and say it in this regard. So just a quick warning for those of you that don't like the word or whatever, because I don't like it, but I'll go ahead and say it. Chris Rock had a special called Black People versus Niggas. Anytime black people are trying to make progress or trying to move ahead in society, niggas got to find a way to fuck it up. Black people can't have movie theaters in their communities because niggas are shooting at the screens. Black people can't have stores and malls that don't have chains in the windows and don't have early closing hours and all this other stuff because niggas are going in there robbing and stealing and assaulting people and doing dumb stuff like that. And then they're justifying it by putting the blame on someone else or some other situation. Now, I know that when it comes to like addressing issues in the black community, there's a somewhat hidden rule in the black community is you don't really speak about it in public because you don't want other races to be involved. This is a black issue. This is something that we should be addressing ourselves. But the issue is you're not fucking addressing it. You're excusing it. The people that make the arguments about like black on black crime and all other stuff, and I know a lot of those people do it in bad faith. They don't really care about what's going on in the black community. They don't really care about black on black crime. They just bring those numbers up to try to push a narrative or fit a narrative. I understand that. But at the same time, when someone's right, they're right. It doesn't matter where the hell it comes from. If a black community has a problem with gang violence, shooting, assaults, all that other shit, it doesn't matter if a white person or a black person are presenting you the statistics. The fact of the matter is the statistics are what they are. Hold yourself to a higher fucking standard. And I don't care if people are trying to make the excuse of, oh, well, it happens in the white community. Oh, it happens in the Hispanic community. Oh, they have gangs. They have this. They have that. Oh, how come nobody's talking about that? How come? Who the fuck cares? This is about you. You should hold yourself to a higher standard at all times. There are many things I can do on my channel to get views. Many things. A lot of those things are things that I consider to be beneath me. I'm not going to make pranks because I don't like prank channels. I'm not going to upload other people's content completely. Most of my reactions, I try to add some type of difference between just the regular video and my video. Usually I provide a decent amount of content and things like that when it comes to commentary and criticism and things like that. I tend to try to add something to it. I'm not just going to flat out re-upload other people's videos on my channel. I'm not going to, like I said, make prank videos or make videos where you're pretending to be in situations that are clearly fake, but you're trying to push them off as if they're real. Stuff like that, because that's beneath me. Now, I could do that. I could make a lot of views. I could make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, that's not what I consider to be quality content. And that's not what I consider to be a part of my principles and what I feel makes for a good channel. It don't matter if other people are doing it. I'm going to keep myself over here. Other people are committing crimes. That is not an excuse for you to now go out and do crimes, and then when you get caught, point the finger and say, yeah, but you didn't do anything about them. Who the fuck cares what they did? Who cares? I'm sure a lot of us have had situations where our parents have told us, I don't care what they do, you do what I say. If they jump off a bridge, are you going to do it too? I don't give a damn if John has a 10 o'clock curfew. I told you get your ass in the house when the street lights come on. I don't care what their parents tell them. You bring your ass in the house when the street lights come on. Fact of the matter is, you hold yourself to a higher standard. Now, is it something that should happen? No. But guess what? This is the goddamn situation we're in. Which also is what upsets me about this Oscar situation, because now this sets black people back. Because for the longest, Will Smith and Jada themselves have talked about how black people have been ostracized by the Oscars. How black people have had to fight twice as hard for certain things that other people don't have to fight twice as hard for. But guess what the hell you just did by doing this goddamn action? Guess what people are going to be thinking? As a black person, the decisions that you make in society aren't reflective of just you. It impacts everyone. If I go out and I got a gun and I just start shooting people or get involved in some type of gang violence, if y'all see an article somewhere that says Devon DaVinci was arrested due to some type of gang-related shit, people aren't going to look at that and be like, oh, Devon DaVinci fucked up. How did he let himself get... Some of the people that know me personally, maybe some subscribers might think that. But guess what everybody outside my channel is going to be looking at? That's them black people fucking up again. You can't never have nothing because motherfuckers don't know what they doing. They out here wilding and tripping and doing all types of stupid shit. It doesn't matter. Like, I represent not just me, but my entire race. There's a stereotype that black people have to overcome, and it's stereotypes that a bunch of other people have to overcome too. Everybody has stereotypes, and when it comes to that stereotype, when you're trying to fight that stereotype, you have to go above and beyond. I use Jewish people as an example because they're the first ones I can think of that have a negative stereotype associated with them, and that's with money. People always associate Jewish people with being greedy and all this other bullshit. So when a Jewish person is in a situation that involves money, whether it's like giving a tip or whatever the hell else, a lot of times you'll see that they'll overcompensate because they don't want that stigma or that negative connotation tied to them. It's just what it is. Because people are stupid and they're going to generalize an entire group of people based on an individual's actions. We just recently had a situation where Asian people were being attacked left and right in America because of the COVID situation. Almost all of them probably didn't even have fucking COVID that were attacked. But guess what? They're associated with it, so people are going to automatically look at them when it comes to who you should be looking out for that has COVID. That's life. It shouldn't fucking happen, but it happens. So what we have to do is we have to go above and beyond to fight these stereotypes. When I'm driving down the street, I got my seatbelt on. I'm driving the speed limit. I'm making sure I'm braking on time. I'm making sure that I'm respecting the stop signs and the stoplights. I'm making sure that everything is clear before I turn. Now, there are people out there that speed and all that other stuff. There are people out there that drive without their seatbelts. There are people that do all that shit. But as someone that knows how situations with cops and black people can go, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep myself out of that situation. Now, is it right that I should be that fearful of that situation? No. But guess what? I am. You know why? Because this is what the fuck police see when they see somebody, a black dude driving down the street violating something. This is what they see. Let me make sure my gun and my crack is, safe and in my pockets, Yeah. That's what the fuck they see. Like, racial profiling is a thing. Despite the fact that people try to say it's not, it is. Racial profiling is absolutely a thing. Prejudice is absolutely a thing. We as humans have survived off prejudice. A lot of times when you're in a situation and you don't know somebody, only thing you can really go off of is prejudice. I'm not saying prejudice is good by any means, but what I'm saying is it's a natural it's a natural instinct of humans. This is just what we do. For everybody that tries to say, "Oh, I don't see race, I don't see color, that's complete bullshit. You see all that, and you've already made up your mind when you first see somebody. Now you can override that with what you have learned and go, you know what? No, I shouldn't judge a person based on that. That's wrong. Yeah, you can have that mindset, but your initial reaction is going to be something tied to some type of prejudice. If you're going to a particular store and every single time they do something that fucks up your order, at some point you're going to hit the point where now you've associated that store with fucking up your order. So if you order from that place, you're going to naturally check your food, make sure everything's there and everything else before you drive off. At some point, it's going to hit a mark where you're going to be trying to check to make sure everything is exactly where it needs to be. You're going to be making sure all your food is together. Now, is it right that you should automatically assume that somebody is incompetent and can't do their damn job right? No, but guess what? This is what the hell you got to do. If you want all your food to be where you want it to be, you need to do this. This situation has set us back. Well, not set us back big time or anything. I'm not saying we're jumping back to the damn civil rights movement or something because of this, but it set us back in a way that you have now demonstrated to some people that black people can't settle their differences in a non-violent way. You told some people that black people don't have conflict resolution skills because your idea of getting offended is to go up and slap somebody. There's a lot of people out there that have this mindset of like, I'm not somebody to be fucked with. You mess with me, I don't care what happened. I'll slap the hell out of you, because respect and pride is the biggest thing to some people. It's like, no, you ain't about to say anything and disrespect me because I come and slap the hell out of you. I'll fight you. I shoot you. Like looking at somebody the wrong way, and the next you know, they want to fight you over. There's people out there that have that mindset, and a lot of those people are the ones that are supporting Will. Those people are in the wrong. Those people are immature. Those people have no proper way of dealing with their issues. Those people tend to have low self-esteem, or they tend to be extremely what's the word I'm looking for? They tend to be it'll come to me. But what I'm trying to say is they are insecure. That's what I meant to say. They're insecure about themselves. They are trying to push the bravado of masculinity, or they're trying to push the bravado of toughness by putting on an act. They overcompensate. They're looking for situations like this so they can prove how much of a man they are or prove how much of a tough guy they are. A true man and a true tough guy don't have to prove shit. Because when the situation calls for it, they become a man or they become a tough guy. An MMA fighter doesn't have to go around constantly fighting people and slapping and beating someone up to prove how much of a badass they are. Because they already know it. The people around them already know it. The people that don't know it, if you want to find out, swing on me. Do something like that. Fuck around and find out. That's what it is. A man doesn't have to prove that he's a man. You don't have to do things that, when it comes to the toxic masculinity about, a man does this, a man does that, a man does this, a man fights and a man, doesn't cry, a man doesn't let anybody make a joke out of him or anything like all that other bullshit. That's not a man. People probably have different definitions of man. And like I said, I have my own ideas and my own principles when it comes to what makes a man. For me, a man is somebody that provides and someone that protects. And it doesn't have to be a man to do it. Let me rephrase. Instead of saying man, masculinity. Masculinity to me is providing and protecting. You don't have to be a man to have those qualities. There's plenty of single women out there that have those qualities. That's what makes a man. You going out there and trying to overcompensate because you feel like people are challenging your manhood constantly isn't you being a man. It's you wanting to pretend to be a man. You're playing make-believe. You're playing pretend. You're cosplaying. You're not a fucking man. And if you're offended by what the fuck I'm saying right now, then you're one of them. If you want to get in the comment section and start talking shit because of what I just said, you're one of them. There's plenty of people out there that like to pretend that they're a man and they're above something, but then will easily jump into the dirt when the situation doesn't go their way. There's plenty of people that do that. And the sad part is there's plenty of people in the black community that do that. It's no different than men that try to overcompensate for their sexuality by getting super upset and offended at gay people. Oh, that gay person looked at me. Don't look at me, man. I beat your ass. Don't look at me. Who are you looking at? Like, if you a man, if you secure about your sexuality, why the fuck would you care? I'm on the internet all the time. I have people that have commented about me. I have men that have commented about me and my looks and like wanting to have a relationship and all this. I've never once said, "Oh, get the fuck out of my comment section." I don't give a. I'm not gay. I'm not homosexual. I'm not sexually attracted to men. But at the same time, if somebody were to hit on me, you know what my response would be? I appreciate it. I'm flattered, but I'm not gay. I'm sorry. I'm not gay. That's it. That's my fucking response. Because there's nothing wrong with that person. And you sitting there getting all puffed up and puffing your chest out and shit like that because a gay person looked at you. It just speaks insecurity to the fullest. You act like a child and you look like a fucking child. Now, as I've talked about this discussion, you probably have rationalized in your head why I have such an issue with it. It's more than just the slap. The slap is something that goes deeper with this when it comes to me. I've already told you I'm a big fan of Black history. I love studying Black history. I was obsessed with it in my teenage years. The people I looked up to were real men. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Charles Drew, Benjamin Banneker, Frederick Douglass. These are people that I looked up to. Medgar Evers. These are all people that I looked up to. These are people that I respect as men. Never once did these men get up and have to have some type of bravado or have to check somebody for challenging their manhood or whatever the hell else, because they were secure enough in their manhood. Never once. Martin Luther King's entire strategy was nonviolence. People that directly attacked him, he didn't attack back because he knew that there was a bigger picture to it. A lot of what I said earlier about stereotypes and how certain people have to work twice as hard to avoid stuff that other people don't have to work as hard for. The reason why the civil rights movement took the nonviolent direction it took is because as soon as somebody attacks in that day and age, if a black person were to attack a white person, that's it. You lose the moral high ground, and now, even if you were defending yourself, now you've portrayed yourself in a lot of people's eyes as that violent black person. Martin Luther King fought tooth and nail to avoid that. Damn clip right here. Martin Luther King fought tooth and nail to avoid that image. And he saw ahead of time, way before a lot of other people did, that this is the way to go. And the civil rights movement is probably the most progress that we as black people ourselves have made for ourselves in this country. Period. But there's a reason why we haven't been able to replicate that since then. Because at some point, and I know that there's a lot of stuff involved between the 60s and the 70s and the 80s with the assassination of black leaders and COINTELPRO and all these other things that have been targeted to neutralize the civil rights movement. I know that it's not, you don't even have to address it. I'm already familiar with it. But even with that being said, there's a lot of people out there that cannot be the bigger man because they feel like they have to portray this image of being a tough, or they have to protect their pride, or they have to protect this, that, or the other. Sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. Sometimes you have to find those situations where you have to turn the other cheek, and those situations where you have to defend yourself. When it comes to a situation like you trying to push forward a movement and somebody is trying to knock that back, you have to learn to turn the other cheek. That's a situation where you have to be the bigger person because you have to worry about the image that you're portraying. You don't want to portray a negative image. But if somebody is personally attacking your family or threatening you outside of that, then that's when you defend yourself. That's when you protect. There's a situation for everything, and being adult is knowing when to and when not to make certain decisions in those situations. And the people that are online defending what Will did and saying, oh, well, he made a joke. You don't make jokes about certain things. That's bullshit. He's a comedian on a stage. If you don't like it, leave. It's that simple. You do not get the right to go up and hit somebody because they said something you don't like. That is something that kids do. And even when kids do it, we correct that shit. You don't get on... If a kid is making fun of another kid, you don't go and slap the hell out of them and then just let it go. You criticize, you tell both of them, you were wrong for telling the joke, but you were even more wrong because you hit them. You don't hit them. If you want to return fire with fire, when Will Smith or when Chris Rock told that joke about your wife, you turn around and tell a joke about Chris Rock or his wife. That would have been an appropriate response. Will Smith is a funny guy. I'm sure he could have came up with a banger. Chris Rock is not the most, no disrespect to Chris again, not the most charming person in the world. Chris Rock is not the most suave sex symbol in the world. There's a lot of things you can probably make jokes about at Chris Rock's expense if you feel that you are that offended by what he said about your wife. There's a lot of different ways you can go. You just took the child's way out. Now, I will say I've I've spoken my piece on it. Um, I felt bad during my last stream because I dedicated like a 30 minutes of the intro to this situation. And truth be told, people that come to the gaming streams aren't there for that. If you're here, if you're there to watch my Kirby gameplay or whatever else, you're tuning in for Kirby. You're tuning in for gaming talk. You're tuning in for just discussions with me, discussions with the community, things like that. It's not my place to take this this situation, this event, or whatever hell you want to call it, and turn it into a completely separate thing because you didn't click or tune in for that. Imagine if you were watching TV and you saw on your channel information that this particular show is on TV, and then when you turn to it, it's a completely different subject. You didn't tune in for that shit. But I did want to address it, so I decided to make a video on it. If you have your opinions in the comment section, feel free to let me know. I have no problem having debates with people as well. If, like I said, if you are offended by a lot of the stuff I said, you probably don't expect a lot of sympathy from me because I feel like what I've said is reasonable when it comes to, when it comes to certain things. If you want to say that the joke went too far or whatever else, that's fine. I have no problem with that. If you want to say that the joke probably shouldn't have been made, that's fine too. I have no problem with that. But if you're saying that Will Smith was right to do it, or if you're saying that Chris Rock should be ashamed of himself and he should apologize, no. Will Smith has lost the right to have an apology when he went up there and slapped Chris Rock. Period. Apology out the window. That's your apology. I said something, you responded in kind. That's the exchange right there. He told a joke, you slapped him. Now, Chris owes you change because that slap definitely exceeded what he did with the joke. Chris owes you some receipts. But the fact of the matter is, the joke was paid off. So he doesn't owe you anything after that hit. But it's whatever. Let me know what you all think. I look forward to seeing what is said in the comment section. I've seen a lot of people talking about this. I've seen sports people talking about this. One of the reasons they even made me want to do this type of commentary is because I watched on ESPN, or was it ESPN? I think it might have been no, it's not ESPN. It was Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. They were talking about it. A daily sports update show decided to dedicate like 15 minutes to the damn Oscars. This ain't something that happened on the ESPYs. This is the Oscars. So whatever, it's whatever. Will, Jada, I hope y'all got tough skin because y'all are about to go through it when it comes to these jokes and the trolls and everything else. Like I said, I still respect Will and his hustle as a content creator and a producer. Mad respect to him. Again, I think this is a moment of weakness for him. I still respect him as a person. I don't respect the decision, but I respect him as a person still. He's still a fine, perfectly fine dude. I have no problems with him in particular. I just have an issue with what he decided to do at that moment. I still have no issues with Will. But I mean, yeah, like I said, you kind of put this on yourself, so you kind of have to grin and bear it. You got to grin and bear it. It is what it is. Jada, I think, is, and I'm just giving my personal opinion. It is what it is. I think she's toxic as all hell. I think that, or at least let's put it this way, she's toxic for this relationship. Maybe she'll be perfectly fine with some other dude that's willing to actually be okay with some of the stuff she wants in a relationship, that might be fine. But when it comes to Will, this girl is not for you. You need to move on and keep it pushing, because I'm telling you, all it's going to lead to is your heart broken, and it's going to leave with your image shattered. That's it. You over here trying to defend and fight for this girl's honor when she is by no means trying to fight for yours. Most of the stuff and the jokes that you've been going through and the comments you made about sometimes in this industry you have to let people attack you and abuse you and you have to smile and bear it and all that, most of the abuse and stuff you're receiving is because of the shit she said. I guarantee you none of this stuff would have been addressed if Jada wouldn't have put all that shit in the street to begin with. You need to find your own happiness and get out of that damn relationship, because to me, it seems like all it's going to equal to is you having your heart broken. I've had relationships like that. I've had relationships with girls like this. They want to keep you around because they like what you can do for them. They want to keep you around because it's convenient. They want somebody that will appreciate them when they feel like being appreciated, but they don't want to be tied down to you. They aren't that attracted to you. They aren't that committed to you. They don't want that level of a relationship, but they want something more casual. You're trying to have a serious relationship with somebody that wants a casual relationship. So all these agreements that you're making with her about the open marriage and all this other shit, that's just you compromising her. It's not a compromise in the middle. You're compromising her. You're doing what she wants. She wants an open relationship. Again, I'm speaking outside. I don't know what's going on inside. I don't know what Will's situation is. But I would be curious to know what led up to the discussion about an open relationship, and whether or not Will was doing stuff on the sides when they were together before the open relationship became a thing. Was Jada messing with some dude before that? And that's what led to them having this discussion about open marriage? Or were they both committed to each other and then at some point decided, you know what, this isn't what I'm looking for. We need to have an open marriage. I'm just curious, because an open marriage isn't a discussion that just happens between two adults. This is something that one person proposes and the other person approves or denies. And I'm willing to guarantee I know who proposed it. And I'm willing to bet it wasn't Will. That's all I'm saying. Jada is toxic as fuck. If I were you, I would have divorced her ass a long time ago. She's not right for you. I do feel bad saying she's toxic because, again, in a different situation and with a different relationship, maybe she'd be perfectly fine. But when it comes to Will, she's not. She's not for you, bruh. Find somebody else and move on. I don't know if maybe he's trying to keep it together because he wants to continue to have the image of being a family man. I've heard stories about his own situation at his home not being the best, discussions of abuse and things like that between his parents. Maybe because sometimes when you grow up in those type of situations, you want to try to do the best you can to not repeat that. Like for example, there are guys out there that grew up in single parent households, like without their father, for example. So they grow up and they're like, you know what? When I have kids, I'm going to do everything I can to protect this kid. I'm not going to ever walk out on them. I'm never going to be that type of person. I don't want to be the same person that my father was for me. That's what a lot of people have in their mindset when they think about their ideal relationship and things like that. So when it comes to having to walk away from a relationship, even if it's healthy for you, they might be willing to put up with more simply because they don't want to ever find themselves in a situation where their family is no longer what it is in their mind. They want to keep pushing this idea of, no, we're a tight-knit family. We work through our differences. We stick together, and this person doesn't walk out. You don't have to walk out, but y'all don't have to be together. You can still be every bit of a father as anyone else. It's just that y'all don't need to be together. At this point, your kids are adults, You don't have to worry about things like split custody and all the other stuff that could definitely muddy the water. I can see why someone would probably put up with more in a situation where your kids are younger, because you don't want to put your kids through a situation where they're like going back and forth between their parents. Uh, I get that. But in this situation, I think Will needs to just separate, honestly. But anyway, that's my opinion, like I said. If you enjoyed this video, which I'm not sure how you would, let's be real, this is a bit of a downer. I'm not going to deny it. I'll accept that. I have no problem accepting that. Feel free to express yourself in the comment sections about how you feel. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what I said. Whatever, hit the dislike button if you didn't. It doesn't really matter to me, but it at least gives me an idea of where people stand on the situation. Yeah, and if you have any like ideas or solutions that you think would best work for either of them, Will, Jada, or Chris Rock, feel free to let me know in the comment section. This is all my opinion. At the end of the day, I'm just a random ass person on the internet. My opinion isn't more valid than anybody else's. The reason I made this video is because I was just expressing myself, what I thought of the situation. You're free to not care about what I think. You can easily click off the video or go somewhere else. It honestly is within your right and your power to do that. Nothing is holding you here. You're free to leave. But that's my opinion on it. Other people have their opinions. I strongly disagree with some. I agree with others. I disagree with others. But it is their opinion. I'm not going to deny that. It's whatever. Except for the people that are condoning crimes and stuff. You don't get to assault somebody and just think that it's okay because you're upset. Those people are wrong. But everybody else that have other types of opinions, it's cool. Anyway, I'm going to give y'all deuces. I'll see y'all later. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Peace.